Hi guys, in this tutorial I'll be showing you how you can make these 1/12 scale rustic Scandi style chairs from my easy to assemble kits. Simply follow my step-by-step instructions to create your own realistic miniatures for you to paint and finish in your own style. So let's get started and see what tools and supplies you'll need to assemble these kits in the comfort of your own home. You'll need wood glue. I use Gorilla as my favourite brand, but any wood glue will be fine. You'll need a scalpel, Stanley or craft knife. You'll also need cocktail sticks or toothpicks. You'll need sandpaper in various grades, anything from about 100 to 150 grit, and then a much finer grade sandpaper, which is about 180 grit. You'll need a range of varying size paintbrushes like this. Some of these older frayed ones are really good for wood grain effects, and we'll come on to that later. And you'll also need a range of acrylics. I've got these shades of brown for a base coat, and then I'm painting mine red, so I've got various shades of red acrylics as well. And finally, for some hand painted details at the end, I've got this range of acrylics. So your Scandi chair kit will arrive like this in a sheet of pre-cut pieces. Now these pieces are held in place with some tiny tabs, and we're going to use our Stanley knife or craft knife and just nip through those tabs just so we can pop those pieces out from the sheet. So once you've removed all of your pieces from the sheet, I would suggest laying them out like so. Just make sure everything is present and correct. Now you'll notice the tiny tabs that you've cut through are still slightly visible on some of these pieces. So I would use your very fine grit sandpaper and just sand all of these flush. There are several parts to the seat section on this Scandi style chair, and this base section with the 4 cutout holes actually takes the base legs of this chair. Now you'll notice the back section is slightly narrower, and you can pre-fit these dry before we glue anything, and the one at the front, as you can see, is slightly wider. So again, before we start assembly and gluing anything, I would just make sure that we sand off any of these tiny tabs with your fine grit sandpaper like so. So now taking the upper seat section, which is plain, and the back of the chair, we want to try and create these to sit at an angle, and there are some pieces which will hold this in place later, but for now we need to sand the back of this section at a slight diagonal. So I'm going to lay my very fine grit sandpaper flat, and as you can see I'm holding this at about a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to sand this just to take off that back edge. I'm also going to repeat the same process at the same angle on the front side of this back section of the chair. So as you can see, we've created a slight chamfer on these edges, which will now mean these will slot into these 2 holes on the seat and be able to sit at an angle. Now I would definitely recommend trying this before you glue anything together. Just make sure it fits and it slots down into those 2 holes. If you need to take a bit more off like I'm doing here, then it's definitely better to test it and sand a bit more off as you go, rather than sanding too much and then it's too wobbly within those 2 holes. So that's now a really good fit. I'm happy with that angle. It doesn't need to be any more than this, and there are pieces that will hold this in position later. So these are these angled sections which will slide into the back of the seat. I'm now going to take this upper seat section, and because this is an older piece of furniture, I'm going to round off some of the edges by taking the sandpaper, keeping it flat, and just working on all of the edges to create a slightly softer, rounded look. Okay, so we can now start gluing the seat sections of this chair together. You've got your bottom section with the 4 holes, this middle thicker section, and the top section with the 2 holes. So I'm going to add a small amount of wood glue and just layer these up. I'd recommend once you've glued them that you push them together like so and almost make sure the back is completely flush by pushing this down onto your surface or cutting mat like I'm doing here. So you'll notice at the back of the seat there are some notches which are going to take those pieces we looked at earlier to hold the back of the seat in position. So you just want to make sure that those are all lined up like so. So once you're happy with the position and these are all flush at the back, you can just remove any excess glue with your cocktail stick or toothpick and set this piece aside and allow this to dry. Now moving on to the base or the leg sections of the chair, we're going to take our two pre-cut pieces and these side supports, which as you'll notice have notches which locate into the holes on these sections. So I'm going to add a small amount of wood glue to each of these holes on the front and the back, which will allow us to position those two side supports. Now you'll notice I mentioned earlier that one of these is slightly narrower and the other one being slightly wider, which goes towards the front. Now at this stage it doesn't really matter because you can turn this base section around before we glue this to the seat, but if you have sanded one of the front edges you might want to decide at this stage which is the front and which is the back. So these two side supports just literally push into place like so, and then we're going to repeat that on the left and the right side of this base section. So simply push these two pieces together, and at this stage, while the glue is wet, any excess glue, just remove that with a cocktail stick or toothpick, and you can set this aside and allow this to dry. So now taking the seat section which we worked on earlier, I'm just going to add a small amount of wood glue to each of those 4 holes to be able to take the tabs from the lower section of this chair. I'm adding a small amount of glue, as you can see, to the underside of the leg section, and then I'm just going to locate these two and simply push them together. And much like before, any excess glue, just remove that at this stage with a toothpick or cocktail stick. So once that section is dry, we can take our back of our chair, and I'm adding a small amount of glue along those edges that we sanded earlier and into those 2 holes on the top of the seat. So now we can just take the back of our chair and make sure that those 2 tabs align with the holes on the seat. While this glue is still wet, we want to take these 2 angled sections. As you'll notice, there's a cutout which sits within these 2 holes at the back of the chair. So I'm going to add a small amount of glue like so, and then simply run a line of glue up the back of the chair. I'm using a pair of tweezers. I'm just going to push these in position, which will then set the angle of the back of our chair. So once you're happy with the position, you can just apply a small amount of pressure like so. Just make sure everything is in place and allow this to dry. Now once this is dry, it's ready for its first layer of paint, and I'm going to be using this range of brown acrylics for a base coat. I'm going to be mixing a kind of mid-brown from various shades here, as you can see, and I'm going to be painting this all over the chair. Now all of these flat sections, 1 coat should be fine, but probably 2 coats is ideal on some of the burnt edges. As you can see, I'm kind of dabbing in darker and lighter tones into this paint while it's wet and creating a slight wood grain effect. This is purely because when I add my top coat of these rust and red colours, I'm going to be sanding this down later and I want to see some of this brown come through. Now you'll notice I'm using a relatively old paintbrush here, and I'm actually applying this acrylic paint with almost the side of the paintbrush. I want this to create a slightly broken paint effect where I see some of that brown base coat coming through. I'm going to repeat the same technique over the other parts of the chair where we can just see some of that brown undercoat coming through. And as you can see, this definitely helps to create a kind of weathered and aged look to a paint finish. Now you might well have your own techniques, which is absolutely fine, and you might decide just to paint this in a solid colour, but this is definitely my preferred look for this style of furniture. So that's the first coat of paint done, and as you can see, this has already started to create a really good and realistic weathered and rustic paint finish. Now it still looks a bit new, so I'm going to be taking this brown and black acrylic and creating a kind of diluted wash, and I'm going to highlight some of the areas on this chair which might take a bit more wear and tear over time. So I'm going to highlight around some of these cut details and almost rub the paint back off with my finger just to create a slightly softer look. I'm going to add some detail to the back of this seat section, as you can see, and I'm going to be painting that on and then using a dry soft brush just blend that in and create a slightly softer look. I'm also going to highlight with a small detail brush just around these exposed peg sections. This is how this piece of furniture would have been constructed, so it's really nice to highlight these small details. So that's most of the painting finished. I'm going to let this dry, and then once it's fully dry, I'm going to go in with my sandpaper and sand off some of these seat and back sections and around the edges of this piece of furniture just to create a slightly more aged look. Now you might choose to leave this piece as this is, in this kind of paint finish. I'm going to be adding some detail to this back section. Now I found a reference image online, and using this range of coloured acrylics, I've simply drawn my design on in pencil very lightly, and I'm going to be painting over the top with a very fine brush just to do these very folk style flower details on the back section. Now, I absolutely adore this style of painting, mainly because of its naive appearance and also because you don't need to be the best painter in the world. You do, however, need to have a steady hand, good eyesight and a fine paintbrush. And finally, I'm just adding these last few tiny details with a very fine paintbrush to complete the look. That's your rustic Scandi style chair finished, and you can display this however you like. I've designed a range of miniature kits, so these Scandi style chairs are shown here with this Scandi style table and bench, all available to purchase through my website steveputnam.com. Well, that's it folks. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have, please do hit that like button below and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Steve Putnam Design, for future updates.